So I've done basically 1000 kilometers with the Begode Hero. What is my thoughts about this one? And as a disclosure, I have to say to you guys that is not my favorite wheel, one of my favorites. If you want to know everything about it, stay tuned until the end of the video. Hi everyone, Marcus here from MADpack, and if you love EUCs, PVs and everything that have a E of electricity, this is the place for you. And today we are going to talk about the Begode Hero. And I have to say to you guys that I should have done this review earlier, but unfortunately my health is not being the best. So that's why the delay, and I've been uploading less videos than usually. So sorry for that, but I'm trying my best to maintain one video a week. Obviously with all this time, I've been riding with this wheel for a long period of time, and I have already 1000 kilometers on this wheel. And I have to say to you guys that I simply love it, this wheel. There is some stuff that I don't like so much, we will talk about it, and it's really disappointing, but overall is definitely one of my favorite wheels of 2022, if not my favorite, because of certain things that I simply love it, but we'll go there. But let's dive down, and I have to say to you guys that majority of the wheels on the market, they don't advertise in the best way. If you think about the veteran Abrams, it says off-road on the side. That's definitely not an off-road wheel. This wheel comes with an off-road tire, and this is not an off-road wheel. And as you can see, this will have now a street tire. I know that the tire is in the opposite way, but they've done it so you have less water going up. And we'll talk about that in a second. But one of the big reasons why you can see that this wheel was not made for off-road is obviously the tire was changed, because this wheel with the off-road tire is definitely not the best. But when you put this tire, that is the Michelin City Pro, if I'm not wrong, it's a game changer. And another thing that you can understand that this is not an off-road wheel is because of the mudguard. It's so low that obviously if you want to do some jumps, you are going to hit with this part. But in the same way, this stand works really well, okay, and is very stable. So outside of emotion, this is the first time that I'm really happy with a stand, because it works and is quite durable. But not everything is perfect using this tire on this wheel. The first thing is this tire feels almost in a certain way as the tire on the 9-bot C10. Not the difficulty to curve, but when you get a line and it's slightly higher in one of the sides, when you hit that line, the wheel will start bending in the opposite direction. So that is a sensation that you don't like so much. But I have to say to you guys that the Begode Hero is not a wheel made to ride slowly. And when we talk about speed, this wheel, you can easily reach 45 miles per hour without beepings. And that's simply amazing, because in my case, I normally ride between 40 to 44. That's the top speeds that I normally do with my wheels. I love my Emotion V12, but I know that I'm already on the edge and it's already beeping to me to slow down a little bit. Here, I never heard the beepings, because like I said, I'm not the fastest electric unicycle rider on the market. And for me, 45 miles per hour is more than enough. If you are like me, you will love that, because there is no restriction when you are riding with this electric unicycle. If you go a little bit above, this light is a 5000 lumens, and I have to say, if you put side by side, for example, with the Commander, this light is so much better than the Commander, is not even comparable. But if you put this side by side with the Emotion V11, not the V12, it's night and day, so also not the best. And I can't wait to see how is the light on the Master, that's supposedly 7000 lumens, so it should be a little bit better. But this one illuminates similar to what you have on the Commander, but better. So it's a little bit brighter, but it's not the best light. Something that you can see here, a reference coming from the Emotion V11, is this light all around. I really like it, but it have a big downside, if it makes sense. I use trains, so I like to have an option that I can just turn off all the lights. I have already said that to Emotion and to other producers that we really need an option to turn off all the lights. Why? Because when we go on the trains, they don't want us to have any lights on the electric unicycle. So the only way to do that is to turn off the electric unicycle. So that is a downside. So what I do is normally I open the handle and I put my jacket covering the front and the back. And we'll go to the back in a second. But this light I like that you have this light all around your front lights, so during the day you are also visible in the middle of the traffic. On the top you are going to find your sensor, and obviously this is something that I really like. It's not on the front, it's on the top, so the lights of the other cars or something, they are not going to hit this light. Sometimes during the night, if you pass on beneath a post that is very, very bright, it can turn off your front lights for a second and it will turn on again. So that is a small disadvantage, just to let you know, but it works quite well. Since it's dark, it turns on very, very quickly and it turns off very, very quickly, so definitely a plus. And another thing that I simply love it on the Hero is the size of this screen. This screen is the biggest size that you have on the market. It's much more simple than the one that you'll find on the Emotion V12. But what you need to see is how much battery you have, how fast are you going, what is the temperature of your electric unicycle, and also how many miles you've done it. So I'm quite happy with that. I will change the miles for the trip that I'm doing, because maybe I want to know how many miles I've done during that trip, but you can configure that. So definitely, obviously, when you go to the Emotion V12, you have that possibility to customize the screen as you want. And when we look to the screen and when we look about the speed, that is something that I don't like so much, but I'll leave that for the end of the video. When we go forward, you are going to find straight away next to it a charging port. I'm not that type of person that charge the phone, because also I have an iPhone, so this have battery for all the day, but if you need it, you have it there, and it's always closed. I never had the experience that it opens by itself, so definitely a plus. So if you are concerned about waterproofing, I will have to say to you guys that this wheel from Begode is the best that you can purchase until now. If you think about just this front part, where is the control board, where you have your Bluetooth and everything, it's all here. The speakers are here, but they are enclosed inside the box, and after it gets all this piece of plastic on the top. So I don't think that you are going to have water going in, so definitely a plus. And after this is assembled and these parts will go on the top, so I don't think that you are going to have any water in there, but if you want to increase, you can remove all this and put some silicone on that part and increase your waterproofing. Obviously, you have this part here completely open, but I don't see that you are going to have water in there, because if you look in here, you are going to be able to see that it's all dirty in here, but not on the back, where, for example, is the charging ports. And that was one of the main concerns that I had. It's impossible that you have water going in here. And I've been riding in the rain, and heavy rain with this one, and I never had a problem. Obviously, you are going to have also your red light here on the back. That is the main problem that I have when I take the trains, but it's not very visible, it's a bit dim, so just to point it out. And when we continue to look to the top part, you are going to have here your beepings. Okay, so definitely a plus. I never heard them because, like I said, I don't ride above 45 miles per hour, but if you need to hear them, the position of them is really on the top, so definitely a plus. When we look to the turn on and turn off on this wheel, it's better than, for example, you have on the Emotion V12. They are in very similar places, but this one, it's put inside the plastic, so it's impossible that you'll hit the turn on and turn off, so definitely a plus. And when we look straight away here, you are going to have something that I simply love it, and this makes one of my favorite wheels of 2022, is because of the handle. And you may think that it's just a handle, but this handle is so sturdy. It's the sturdiest handle that you have on the market. This one is also sturdy, but it's not the same, and I explained to you guys. When you need to do some stairs with this one, you can just push the first stair, and after you can just go up all the stairs, just grabbing your handle. So definitely something that I simply love it. Since I have my accident with my shoulder, I should not try to lift it up, and even if you have to lift it up, obviously you have this position that is going to lose the balance, and obviously you'll cut the spinning of the wheel, but you can put your hand here and you can lift it up with the two hands. So definitely a plus that you have in there, and even if you need to grab from the back, you can do it, but it's not as comfortable as put it in here. And by the way, if you put it in here, you are not going to dirty your hands, and you can see I put my hands in there and it's not dirty at all. And this wheel is very dirty, because since I have it, I never wash it, so you can see how much dirt we have on this wheel. And when we continue to look to the top, there is something that is really stupid. And straight away, the first day that I went to ride with it and I was going to work, I was stopped in the red light and I decided to sit on the wheel. But many times when you sit on the wheel, and for sure I'm showing to you guys, the button is slightly raised. So you are going to basically hit this button and it's going to open. So when I was trying to just start to ride the electric unicycle, the wheel was not balancing. So I look like stupid. And another thing that many times happens with this handle that is very, very annoying when I'm taking the train is that sometimes, even if I reopen the handle, it doesn't balance. And for that, I need to turn off and turn on. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes. And that is something that I simply hate it. Obviously, if you need to use your cut switch, you have this step compared to here, you just have to squeeze it and it cuts. It depends which options you think that is the best, but like I said, this is not a straight comparison with the V12. We will do that in another video. If you are interested to see that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because it will come really soon. Obviously, if this was my wheel, I will have put already some foam here, raising a bit the wheel. It will be more comfortable to sit, and in the same time will not allow me to sit on this button and open it. So definitely a plus. Obviously Begode can do that in the future, but is not in here, at least at the moment. And when we look to the sides, we are going to see straight away here, this is plastic, but it feels very good plastic. Okay, it doesn't feel that it's thin. One thing that I really like is that you can see the cables. So if you see that they are getting yellow or something, I will definitely recommend you to open the wheel and check them out. So I really like the fact that you can see all your connections and you can see from both of the sides. So definitely a plus. And when we look a little bit lower, you are going to find these pads, and it's a mix of sensation. I really like how they are and how they look on the wheel. It looks really nice, but they are not the best and brings another problem. If this was my wheel, I will 3D print something that will allow me to put my pads here and increase the capabilities of this wheel. But I've been using this 1000 kilometers with the standard pads. I never thought that I would talk about this, but the importance of your shoes is really important. So if you use shoes like just trainers, it's not the best. It's going to be very wide. If you use motorbike shoes, depends on the motorbike shoes. I bought some new ones. I'll be doing a video if you guys want, leave in the comments below, but I'm thinking to do a video where I talk about that and why it's important to have some boots. They are much harder than others. If you think that this is interesting, leave in the comments below. Since I've been using with the Forma Evo Terra, it's been amazing experience. Obviously, I like to have the pads a little bit higher to brake even harder, but overall it's been okay, and that's the reason why I never change. And when we go a little bit lower, we are going to find something that I simply love it, and I have to say to you guys that is the best pedals that you have on the market. Standard on the wheel is not even comparable. You can change the spikes, they even change them, so it's not the same as the original ones because I have these pedals on my MSP, but this wheel you can change the angle, everything, and they work really well. So definitely a plus. I love these pedals, they are simply amazing, and I never had my feet falling off the wheel. And this, with the combination of my new boots, has been an amazing experience. It's impossible that I fall. Sometimes even they grab too much. And when we talk about how high you are from the floor, man, it's really good. You are not high at all. You are very close. It's very easy to just mount and dismount your electric unicycle when you are in traffic. And this wheel with this street tire, a wheel to use it in the city. I was thinking that this tire was going to be very slippery, that if it's raining it's very dangerous, but I have to say to you guys that no, that's not the issue. That's not the case. It's been amazing. I don't have any problems using it. When we talk about comfort, this wheel, it's really comfortable between your legs because, as you can see, this part goes in. I think that they try to, in a certain way, take some ideas of the V11, mix a bit with the S18, and I think they've done here a winner. But in the same time, they try to position this wheel with a price too high, if you think. And in the same time, when they came out, or when they advertised that they was doing this wheel, Kingsong decided to put out the S20, and obviously this wheel felt that is a bit in the past. The price tag, and I never talk about price because I think that's your decision if you think that is too high or not, but in this case I really have to say that the original price of the Begode Hero was too high, making this wheel not interesting at all, when is definitely the most interesting wheel from Begode that I tested out until today. When we talk about the charging ports, you have two charging ports of 8 amps, so you can obviously charge this much faster. I normally charge with just one charger because I think it's safer, and also you have more cycles with your electric unicycle, so have that in consideration. And obviously if you buy a Begode, have that in consideration. But now let's talk about the thing that is one of the worst things on this electric unicycle, and I have to say that is the batteries. Definitely it's not a Samsung 50E that they are going to use on the Master, the version with 2400 watt hours. That we'll talk really soon in the channel. That will talk why I think that this was just the starting point for the Master and if it's good or not, the Master. So if you want to check it out, that video, it will come out really soon on the channel. But the cells here, I think they are quite poor, okay? And obviously it's not the Moricell cells, that is the high performance version of the Master with 2000 watt hours. When you are riding with the Begode Hero, even if it's fully charged and you start going fast and you reach speeds of 68 kilometers per hour, you start seeing that the marks of your speed, and for sure I'm showing to you guys that it starts going down and down and down, and when you slow down it goes up again. So I was used to see that is sag on the battery. I was used to see that on e-skates, not on electric unicycles, and that doesn't give me any reassurance. So definitely I would like to see future versions of the Hero with better batteries to not allow that. I'm concerned about it. But besides that, I've been loving this wheel. It is super stable. I don't have wobbles using it. When you try to brake with this wheel, like I said, if I had other pads I think it will be better. And also if you have boots, they are harder, like my former boots, I'll definitely recommend you to have a look on them. If you have very soft boots, it's harder to brake. I feel that it's, in a certain way, is like riding Emotion V12, that you need to kick from the side, but the difference is this is a 16-inch wheel, so it's very easy to kick to the side and to brake hard, and here you struggle a little bit more. But if you have hard boots that basically block your feet, it's much easier to brake with the Begode Hero. When we talk about the mudguard, I have to say to you guys that is my favorite mudguard. Why? Because it gets all dirty, as you can see, but it doesn't go up. And you can see that here the suspension is all clean. And when we talk about the suspension, you have here 8mm travel, and obviously that shows that this is not an off-road wheel. Like I said before, here the mudguard is too low, and I think also the Master is exactly the same. So definitely these wheels, they were not made to be performance wheel in off-road, to make jumps and stuff like that. That's not the purpose of the Master, and also is definitely not the purpose of the Hero. But I have to say that this is another big disappointment of the suspension on the Hero. When we talk about pressure, I put 160 psi on this suspension, and obviously you just have one chamber, so you don't have the rebound. So it's very cheap, and is definitely not the best suspension. I was even a bit disappointed because I was expecting more from it. But also you can always change the suspension for something a little bit better, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. I have to be completely honest with you guys. If I could have this suspension even cheaper in here, I will love it, because I'll be able to just swap around to something a little bit better. But you don't have the option, obviously, on the Emotion V12. When we talk about build construction, like I said, this part is one plastic on top of other two. All the plastics, they don't feel cheap at all. You have all this is metal. All your suspension is in here, inside, like a cage, okay? It's not exposed. It's not like the cheap version of the suspension of the S20 that is simply horrible. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about the Kingsong S20, but all the suspension is inside, okay? So less probabilities to have dirt going in, and after a while you start, the suspension starts to don't feel the same. Here you don't have that issue. I think that is a very well built wheel. You can even wash the wheel without a problem. I would not recommend you obviously to drop some water on the top, but if you have to clean all this part, definitely not an issue in there. Another thing that I really like about this wheel is having Bluetooth speakers, but these Bluetooth speakers is not the best sound in the world. They are here next to the lights and they are pointing down. So what happened is that is very muffy, the sound. I can hear, but it's not the best, but it's there. It's better than, for example, on the Master, you will not have any speakers. Who I recommend this wheel? I have to recommend to all of you guys, they are speed freaks. If you like to go up to 45 miles per hour, this is your baby. It's an amazing wheel. If you want something that is well built, this is your baby. If you want a wheel that is a city rider, is not as nimble as a V12, this is your wheel. If you want to put a better suspension, this is your wheel. If you want to go and see how fast you are going very easily, this is your wheel. I love it, and I will love to stay with this wheel for me, because I've been having a lot of pleasure. And when we talk also about temperatures, this wheel runs really low. So if you live in a hot country, you are not going to have the same issues that I said that you'll have if you buy a Commander. If you don't have seen those videos, also please check them out. But overall, I don't get it. I think that because they built something so good, they think that they can charge double the price. But it's not that. That's not the way to do the things. This is just my full review of the Begode Hero after 1000 kilometers. And by the way, this is the high-speed version. So you have also the high torque. High speed has been fun enough for me. If you have any questions about the Begode Hero, please leave in the comments below. And if you want me to do a specific comparison of this wheel with something else, let me know also in the comments below. My name is Marco, this is MADpack. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment below, smash a thumbs up, do whatever you want, but always with a smile on your face. And I hope to see you in the next one.